So let's talk about something I call the complement frequency. The whole thing kicked off because of, well, a single line of code, a line that basically crashed the most important system I have.
Yep, that was it. That was the line. My wife, Priya, just drops this on me on a totally normal Tuesday. We're doing the dishes, and boom! It felt like it came out of left field, absolutely nowhere. Okay, so my name is Arjun, and for me, an engineer, this wasn't just, a complaint. No way. This was a critical bug report. She just found a major flaw in the operating system of our marriage, and I had somehow completely missed it.
Honestly, it felt like a runtime exception. The code's supposed to be working perfectly. The system's stable, all services are up, so I did what any engineer would do. I tried to debug it, logically. I was like, what do you mean? I told you were beautiful on our wedding day. Which, was 4 years ago. Turns out that was not the right input.
Look, my argument was pretty simple, right? In my world, you avoid information redundancy. It's just inefficient. You don't keep sending the same data packet over and over again once it's been delivered. I mean, I'd already sent the "you are beautiful" data. It was received, acknowledged. Why waste bandwidth resending it? The info is out there.
And right there, that's when everything changed. Priya just looks at me and says this one thing that completely reframes the entire problem. Suddenly, it wasn't about the data at all. It was about something completely different.
So that's when I started piecing together what I've come to call the attention decay problem. It's this fundamental thing that was happening right in front of me, and I was totally oblivious. Here's the thing. Our brains are built for efficiency. So they take familiar stuff, your daily commute, the layout of your apartment, even the person you see every single day, and they move it to background processing. It's not that I'd stopped caring about Priya. Of course not. My brain had just classified her as a known, stable variable. It optimized her into the background. But from her end, being background processed feels a lot like being ignored.
And that's it. We had a total disconnect in our protocols. My protocol was all about actions over words. I make the coffee every morning, I get the groceries. That's my way of showing I care. But her protocol, it was different. For her, words weren't just words. They were proof. Proof that I was paying active attention, that I wasn't just running on autopilot.
And that was the metaphor that just made everything click into place. A complement. It's not redundant data. It's like a heartbeat signal, a little ping, a tiny data packet that just says, hey, I'm still here. The connection is live. The system is actively monitoring.
All right, so new theory in hand. But, a theory is one thing. Actually putting it into practice is another. It was time to start debugging my own behavior, and let me tell you, my first attempts were a little clumsy.
So my first go at this was a super simple two-step protocol. Attempt number 1. Step 1, identify an object. Step 2, state a positive fact about it. I mean, it's logically sound, right? What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, protocol in action. Priya makes lunch. I identify the object, sambar. I state the positive fact, this sambar is very good. And the result, I get a polite thanks. But yeah, I could tell the emotional connection. It failed to update. System status, unchanged.
So, back to the drawing board. I had to debug with the end user. I literally asked her, okay, what was wrong with that compliment? And her feedback was absolutely crucial. She said it felt like I was just checking off a task on a list. And you know what? She was 100% right. That one piece of feedback, it forced a complete system overhaul. I basically had to scrap all my old code and start fresh. I needed a totally new approach, something that I now think of as the active noticing algorithm. This was the key insight, the big breakthrough. I realized I wasn't really paying attention. I was just doing what I'd call passive logging, scanning for things to complement. What I needed was active monitoring, to genuinely observe something, think about it, and then share what I noticed. That's the huge difference between a generic, you look nice, and something specific like, wow, that new hairstyle works really well. I even started thinking about it like, the TCP/IP of emotions. A generic compliment, like saying, you're good at hosting. That's just a basic acknowledgement packet. It's an ACK. It just says message received. But a specific compliment, something like, you were like a human load balancer tonight, making sure you distributed attention to all the guests. See? That's a specific ACK. It proves you didn't just get the message, you actually understood the content. And it's wild, because once I switched to this new algorithm, I started noticing all these little things I had never really seen before. I mean, they were always there, just running in the background. Like the way she fidgets with her earring when she's reading, or how she uses her hands to explain work stories, almost like she's drawing them out. Even just how fast and precise she is when she types. These were the details. These were the things worth mentioning.
But here's the crazy part. What happened next was totally unexpected. This wasn't just a patch for one little bug. It ended up causing system-wide improvements. It was like compound interest for our entire relationship.
It created this amazing positive feedback loop. Because I was actively noticing things about her, she started actively noticing things about me. She'd comment on how I organized my desk for a project, or how I handled a tough call. It turns out that this whole active appreciation thing, it's contagious.
So the final performance review, if you will, came about a year later. And she said it. She said, "You've gotten so much better at this." It's seeing me. Really seeing me. It wasn't just about acknowledging I was there anymore. It was about actually noticing her. And that's when I knew the system was finally stable.
So really, that's the whole lesson from all of this debugging. It's about making a conscious switch in your own head, to stop just passively logging the world around you and start actively monitoring it. It's about genuinely paying attention to the little details of the people who matter the most in your life.
Which leaves me with a question for you. Just think about it for a second. What's one specific, tiny detail you can actively notice about someone important to you today? What's that one little heartbeat signal you can send out to prove the connection is still live?